Charles Bronson is one of the most recognizable figures in film, and equally famous is his reputation of not being one of the most pleasant guys to be with. Most of the time, he kept to himself, and even stole the wife of one of his co-stars in The Great Escape. Also in the classic action film The Great Escape, Charles held a grudge against actor James Garner. In this video, we're going to delve into how Charles Bronson his bitter grudges until the very end. Keep watching to find out. Charles Bronson and James Garner had a strained relationship. The 1963 action war film The Great Escape stands as a true classic in its genre, particularly from that era. It served as a pivotal starring vehicle for the iconic action star Steve McQueen, whose charisma and talent were already beginning to set him apart. However, what made the film truly exceptional was its remarkable ensemble cast, including notable performers like Charles Bronson and James Garner. While neither Bronson nor Garner had reached the same level of stardom as McQueen at that point, their performances were certainly on par with his. Unfortunately, the camaraderie on set didn't match the chemistry on screen. Charles Bronson and James Garner's relationship during the making of The Great Escape was far from amicable. Garner continued to share tales of the film's tumultuous production for decades, even after Charles Bronson's passing in the early 2000s. In his autobiography, Garner delved into the strained relationship he had with the late action star during the filming of the movie. The book was filled with accounts of the discord and conflicts that marred their collaboration. Notably, James Garner also had his share of issues with Steve McQueen on set. Despite their eventual friendship, Garner couldn't ignore McQueen's at times egotistical behavior during the production of the film. However, as time passed, Garner found it in himself to forgive McQueen for any on-set tensions, recognizing the complexities of working on such a high-stakes project. Certainly, Steve McQueen was undeniably the shining star of The Great Escape, and his magnetic presence played a pivotal role in the film's ultimate success. McQueen's commitment to his role, though at times perceived as egotistical, was rooted in his dedication to delivering an outstanding performance. He understood the importance of the film and was determined to give his best. However, the dynamics between Steve McQueen and Charles Bronson on the set of the film were rather complex. While Bronson was indeed a respected actor in the industry at the time, he was aware that he wasn't in the same league of stardom as McQueen. This awareness seemed to fuel Bronson's own egotistical demeanor during filming, which differed significantly from McQueen's approach. Bronson's behavior, characterized by a sense of entitlement and an apparent desire to be the center of attention, was perplexing given that he wasn't the film's leading man. Instead of contributing positively to the production, his egotistical attitude appeared to hinder the collaborative spirit on set. It became evident that Charles Bronson's demeanor had less to do with his commitment to the role and more with his desire to assert himself as a dominant presence among the cast and crew. Charles Bronson's ego was bigger than Steve McQueen's. Indeed, while Steve McQueen's growing ego was occasionally noticeable on the set of The Great Escape, according to James Garner, it paled in comparison to the challenges presented by Charles Bronson. Garner recounted that Bronson's belligerent behavior persisted throughout the entire duration of the film's production, making for a rather tumultuous filming experience. Despite the on-set dynamics, The Great Escape emerged as a significant success. The film followed a group of soldiers attempting a daring escape from a German POW camp during World War II, a timeless and classic story that continues to captivate audiences today. Before his role in The Great Escape, Charles Bronson was best known for his appearance in the 1960 Western film The Magnificent Seven. Bronson's portrayal of a stoic and skilled gunman left an indelible mark on the Western genre. Meanwhile, James Garner had made a name for himself as the charismatic and witty titular character in the hit television series Maverick. It's interesting to note that James Garner, who had already established himself as the star of Maverick, arguably held a higher profile in the entertainment industry compared to Charles Bronson at the time they were cast for The Great Escape. This difference in status may have played a role in Charles Bronson's demeanor during the film's production. Being cast as a supporting player alongside a more prominent figure like Garner could have made Bronson feel defensive or even undervalued. In response, he might have intensified his tough guy persona while working on the film. Unfortunately, this approach didn't necessarily endear him to his fellow cast members. James Garner, in particular, had a less than pleasant experience working with Charles Bronson on the set of The Great Escape. According to Garner, Bronson was known for being a difficult and abrasive individual who didn't hesitate to exploit others. This challenging working relationship eventually led to a grudge between the two actors, a feud that persisted throughout their lives. Charles Bronson tried to cheat at poker. One of the memorable stories shared by the late James Garner offered a glimpse into the strained relationship he had with Charles Bronson, particularly during a poker game that took place shortly after they had finished filming The Great Escape. It's a tale that sheds light on the tension between the two actors. The poker game occurred at James Garner's house, although it remains a mystery why he extended an invitation to Charles Bronson, given their rocky experience working together on the film. Nevertheless, that would turn out to be their one and only poker night together. During the game, a significant incident unfolded. Charles Bronson, in a rather discourteous manner, attempted to retract one of his bets after the point of no return. This action could have spelled disaster for another player at the table, a young stagehand who was far less financially well off than the famous film star. James Garner, not one to tolerate such behavior, insisted that Charles abide by the rules and pay the young man what he rightfully owed him, $50, in accordance with the game's rules. However, Charles was so infuriated by this turn of events that he couldn't contain his anger, and the situation nearly escalated into a physical confrontation between him and James. The strained relationship between James Garner and Charles Bronson, stemming from their negative experiences during the filming of The Great Escape and the subsequent poker game incident, left a lasting impact on both actors. This animosity led them to harbor grudges against each other for the rest of their lives. Charles Bronson was particularly adamant about not working with James Garner again and vowed never to do so. Surprisingly, their paths did cross several years later, albeit in a more casual setting. While out with their respective wives, James with his wife Lois Clark and Charles with his wife Jill Ireland, the two couples ran into each other. Despite the uncomfortable history between the two actors, Lois and Jill managed to strike up a cordial and engaging conversation. They found common ground and plenty to discuss. However, for James Garner and Charles Bronson, the dinner was a challenging experience that required them to grit their teeth and put aside their personal grievances for the sake of their wives. After the release of The Great Escape, Charles Bronson's career took an exciting turn, propelling him to greater fame than ever before with his lead role in the 1968 Western film Once Upon a Time in the West. This film marked a significant collaboration with director Sergio Leone, who had previously considered Charles for roles in his iconic Dollars trilogy. However, Charles had turned down these opportunities, inadvertently paving the way for Clint Eastwood's rise to stardom through the trilogy. In The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Sergio once again had Charles in mind for a key role, but it ultimately went to Lee Van Cleef. It wasn't until Once Upon a Time in the West that Sergio Leone and Charles Bronson finally teamed up. The result of their collaboration was nothing short of incredible. As the 1970s rolled in, Charles Bronson solidified his status as a Hollywood megastar, thanks in large part to his iconic performance in the 1974 film Death Wish. This gritty vigilante thriller resonated with audiences and contributed significantly to Charles Bronson's enduring legacy in the world of cinema. James Garner admitted feud with Charles Bronson. While The Great Escape has gone down in history as one of the most iconic films, propelling the careers of many of its cast members to stratospheric heights, behind the scenes, tensions simmered between two of its biggest stars. In his 2011 memoir, The Garner Files, James Garner was candid about his experiences with his fellow actors, particularly taking aim at Charles Bronson. He described Bronson as a pain in the ass who used and abused people, leaving Garner with a strong distaste for his behavior. Garner accused his co-star of harboring bitterness and belligerence. However, Garner didn't reserve his critiques solely for Bronson. He also voiced his criticisms of another Great Escape co-star, the enigmatic Steve McQueen. McQueen had achieved legendary status for his role as Virgil Hiltz, an American Air Force pilot known for his numerous escape attempts from the maximum security POW camp. Garner, however, didn't mince words when discussing McQueen's approach to acting. He remarked that McQueen didn't like anything and drew a parallel between McQueen and Marlon Brando, both known for their challenging behavior on set. Garner believed that, unlike Brando, McQueen was more of a movie star and poser than a genuine actor. He felt that McQueen's insecurities sometimes overshadowed his performance, and his acting felt forced and inauthentic to Garner. In Garner's eyes, you could always see McQueen acting, which he considered a drawback in the world of acting. Despite these tensions and critiques, The Great Escape remains a classic, and the performances of its cast members continue to be celebrated in cinematic history. Did Charles Bronson have a death wish? In 1974, Charles Bronson took on the role of Paul Kersey in Death Wish, a character known for his relentless pursuit of justice. Unlike the character he portrayed, Charles Bronson didn't harbor grudges for personal reasons, but his portrayal resonated with audiences, making Death Wish a major success. This film paved the way for a franchise, with Charles appearing in a total of 5 Death Wish films over the next 2 decades, concluding with 1994's Death Wish 5, The Face of Death. While the original film received praise from critics and audiences alike, the sequels faced less favorable reviews. Charles Bronson's genuine tough guy demeanor was a product of his challenging upbringing. He was one of 15 children born to a struggling coal miner, and he began working in the coal mines at a young age to help support his family. When it was time for him to attend school, his family's financial hardship was so severe that he had to wear one of his sister's dresses to avoid showing up to class without clothing. This unfortunate circumstance made Charles the target of ridicule among his peers and contributed to his resilient and toughened character. Charles Bronson's love story. In the early 1960s, during the waning days of Hollywood's golden era, Charles Bronson was still married to Harriet Tendler. Their story began at a Philadelphia acting school, where 2 individuals from entirely different worlds crossed paths. Harriet, just 18 years old, hailed from a prosperous dairy farming family, while Charles, at 26, came from a struggling, impoverished background. Their initial encounter turned into a friendship, which gradually deepened into a romantic relationship. During their early years as aspiring actors, it was Harriet who provided support for both of them, sharing the dream of achieving that elusive big break in the world of acting. As time passed, opportunities began to knock on Charles Bronson's door. When the producers of John Sturgis's iconic film, The Great Escape, offered him a role, he eagerly seized the chance to advance his career. However, this newfound success signaled the beginning of the end for his relationship with Harriet Tendler. While working on The Great Escape, Charles had the privilege of collaborating with established co-stars like Steve McQueen, James Garner, James Coburn, and Richard Attenborough. Yet, the most unexpected and enduring pleasure came when David McCallum, one of his fellow actors, introduced his wife, Jill Ireland, to the production. In a lighthearted comment to McCallum, Bronson humorously mentioned that he was going to steal his wife, which understandably left the Scottish actor feeling somewhat irritated. As fate would have it, Bronson and Tendler separated in 1965, and McCallum and Ireland also went their separate ways in 1967. The following year, in 1968, Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland exchanged vows and embarked on a new chapter of their lives together. Despite the initial complexities of their romantic entanglement, Bronson and McCallum eventually reconciled and settled their differences amicably. It's intriguing to note that Charles Bronson turned down the iconic role of the man with no name in Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy, which later catapulted Clint Eastwood to stardom. Additionally, his assertiveness extended beyond the film set, as he boldly pursued his second wife, Jill Ireland, even though she was initially married to a co-star. Charles Bronson's love for Jill Ireland appeared on screen. Charles Bronson and Jill Ireland's love story not only blossomed into a deep romantic connection, but also laid the foundation for a remarkable professional partnership that spanned over 16 films. With his name firmly established in the film industry, Bronson made sure that Ireland had ample opportunities to share the screen with him, often cast as his leading lady or in other significant roles in his projects. Although Ireland did not enjoy the same level of fame as her renowned husband, Bronson ensured she had multiple chances to showcase her talent. From minor roles like Robert Mitchum's restaurant date in Buzz Kulik's Villa Rides, to portraying Maria Reina Valachi in Terence Young's The Valachi Papers, and her final role in Peter Hunt's Assassination, Ireland made the most of every opportunity she was given. Among the films they worked on together, From Noon Till 3, directed by Frank D. Gilroy, stands as a testament to their enduring love. Typically, Bronson dominated the screen time, while Ireland played supporting roles such as a damsel in distress, an extra, or a femme fatale who influenced the protagonist's journey. However, in this Western romantic comedy, Ireland's character, Amanda, takes center stage and breathes life into what might be considered an Average film. One could interpret this role as a heartfelt gift from Bronson to his wife, providing her with a chance to exhibit her acting prowess from a different perspective. Ireland's portrayal in From Noon Till 3 also mirrors her role in their marriage. She was the soul that uncovered the idyllic layer of the often misunderstood Bronson, shining as the light in his life during the many challenges they faced. Beyond her acting abilities, her astounding beauty and endearing spirit undoubtedly enhanced their shared projects. Bronson and Ireland were at the pinnacle of their careers, becoming one of Hollywood's most influential power couples, drawing audiences to theaters with each new release. However, their journey together took an unexpected turn, with a piece of sad news that would change their lives forever. Charles Bronson kept Jill Ireland's memory alive. In 1984, a challenging chapter unfolded in Jill Ireland's life as she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Her battle against this relentless disease spanned 6 years and inspired her to share her journey through 2 books, Life Wish, A Personal Story of Survival, and Lifeline, My Fight to Save My Family. For her remarkable courage in the face of cancer, Ireland received the American Cancer Society's Courage Award, presented by none other than President Ronald Reagan himself. Tragically, she lost her battle with the deadly illness in 1990, passing away at their Malibu home. Charles Bronson, her devoted husband, stood by her side until the very end. Her departure left a profound impact on him, and he was never quite the same thereafter. In 1998, Charles Bronson married singer Kim Weeks, but his heart forever held a place for Ireland. To honor the memory of his beloved late wife, he had a custom-made cane created, concealing a hollow compartment where he securely placed her ashes. This unique walking stick remained a cherished keepsake and companion until his own passing in 2003, caused by pneumonia. In a touching tribute, the cane was laid to rest with him in his final resting place in Vermont. Charles Bronson's life was a testament to resilience and transformation. From his challenging early occupations as a coal miner and a B-29 gunner during World War II to his breakthrough in Hollywood, his journey was marked by hardship and triumph. However, perhaps the most surprising and heartwarming aspect of his life was his deep and passionate love for Jill Ireland. Despite his tough exterior, he let his guard down and allowed himself to fall deeply in love with her. Their enduring partnership produced a remarkable body of work in the world of cinema, a testament to one of the most iconic and cinematic love stories that Hollywood has ever witnessed, the legacy of Charles Bronson. Despite being criticized by some snobbish critics as a one-dimensional actor, Charles Bronson's impact on the world of cinema remains enduring. Among his extensive filmography, the Death Wish series stands out as a quintessential representation of Bronson's distinctive style and personal quirks. The series, which revolves around an ordinary citizen taking to the streets to seek vengeance on criminals after his family falls victim to a home invasion, resonated deeply with Bronson. It mirrored his own experiences of enduring hardship and suffering due to life's circumstances. Bronson's acting career and his on-screen persona often felt like a form of vigilantism, a way to confront the injustices he had encountered throughout his life. His characters took matters into their own hands, much like he did in his journey through the trials and tribulations of life. This aspect of his work is what truly sets him apart and contributes to his greatness as an actor. While some may view Bronson's career as somewhat outdated in today's cinematic landscape, it's important to recognize the enduring appeal of his performances. His on-screen persona was an extension of his real-life personality, reflecting qualities like hard work, perseverance, and the gruffness that can develop in individuals as they navigate life's challenges. Charles Bukowski transformed into Charles Bronson, an American cinema icon, emerging from the depths of adversity and leaving an indelible mark on the world of film. Were you aware of Charles Bronson's interesting career choices and personal life, such as turning down the role that made Clint Eastwood famous and his whirlwind romance with Jill Ireland? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like it to show your support, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more intriguing videos. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.